The Chicago Bears did it again. They beat the Minnesota Vikings on a last-second field goal, going to 7-3, and are currently leading the NFC North. As of the recording of this video, we are doing this during Sunday Night Football. They get to host the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are leading the AFC North, go to 6-4 on the season, but they might be without some key players for multiple different reasons that we'll break down here in a second. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 12 matchup and provide our predictions at the end. So be sure to stay tuned, leave a comment, let us know who you think is going to win and why. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button, get notified when new videos come out. We're trying to get to 100 new subscribers this week alone, and let's see if we can do it in this video. And Ryan, let's get into it here.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Chicago Bears, once again, it feels like last year they couldn't win a game, and they used up all that bad luck for good luck this year. And that being said, though, still, it's a division game on the road. Victory to victory, especially at this point in the season. But they definitely control their destiny to at least getting a wild card, but also to leading the NFC North, or winning the NFC North. Sorry, but we're going to talk more about their schedule later on. But once again, though, too, still, Caleb Williams, not the best day we've seen from him. I think he has improved overall. I think Ben Johnson's been really good for him, and so I can only imagine over these next couple of years what he can turn into, what this offense can turn into. But hey, as I said, a win's a win, especially on the road, especially now that we are into the second half of the season. You'll take what you can get. Pittsburgh, same way. However, they had a couple of key players that are probably going to be out for the next game, maybe some more time as well here too. Actually, even I'll just go through the whole list. I have NFL.com right now with like some of the key injuries, but Aaron Rodgers looks like he fractured his left wrist a little bit. From reports that there is some sort of slight break, so we'll need to wait and see what happens with him. And if he's able to play, if he tries it goes, what happens? I really don't know. But Jaylen Warren, he also left the game with an ankle injury. Is there anybody? Oh, and then the big one then here as well too. Not the biggest one. Aaron Rodgers is the biggest one, but Jalen Ramsey got ejected in the fourth quarter for throwing a punch. Based on precedence on what's happened so far, he's probably going to be out for this game as well. Now, so is Jamar Chase, probably for your Ryans, if it is true that he did spit on Jalen Ramsey. So we'll talk about that with the Patriots preview. But here, it's all about the Steelers, and probably going to be without Jalen Ramsey as well for this one. And those are three big losses for this team. One, Aaron Rodgers going out. I know you have Mason Rudolph, who is a Steelers staple now. I feel like he's just going to be the backup quarterback for the rest of his career in Pittsburgh. He's got property in there, I'm sure. But losing Jalen Warren as well, too, I think is a loss. But then losing Jalen Ramsey. Secondary is already pretty rough just in general in their overall performance. But I think then losing him for this game is going to be huge when you're going up against DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, et cetera. So, Ryan, I want to throw it over to you here. What are your thoughts on both the Steelers and the Bears going into this Week 12 matchup?
I'll start with the Bears because I think it's really interesting to see what the Bears have done. Caleb Williams is, I think each week we see him buy in a little bit more and more to the Ben Johnson system, whereas I feel like, the MO coming out of him in college was that he can make some incredible plays and he's the most talented passer in this class, but he doesn't necessarily play in structure very well. And I think if he can continue to progress in playing in structure, I think the Chicago Bears finally have found their franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. And you go look, this offensive line is playing well. Darnell Wright has been one of the best tackles in the league. They solidified the interior there. This wide receiver room looks really solid. They have a great tight end duo there with Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. So all in all, I think that this is a really good offense. Defensively, I still think that there's some work to do. But with that being said, I think that they are improving. And I think Dennis Allen, especially next year, when he's able to get another round of guys into that defense to, fill a role that they need. I think this team is going to continue to progress and get better. So all in all, I have a really good feeling about the Chicago Bears going forward. With that being said, they have, had some heart attack wins in this season, and I'd like to see them, especially against teams that they are more talented than. I'd like to see them look that way a little bit more often, and I think that this is an opportunity here with the Steelers, where I've been talking about the Steelers all year, and I just don't think the Steelers are 6-4 good. I really think that they should be more 4-6 or maybe even a little worse. They have one of the least productive offenses in the league. They have one of the most porous defenses in the league as well. Somehow they're 6-4. I think the only reason why is I believe they're top 5 in turnovers because they have 2 games against the Patriots and the Colts where they had 5 turnovers in each game. Maybe they had 6 against the Colts. Uh, but I think if you look, they've had 1 or 2 explosive plays in a lot of their wins. Yeah, they're second in takeaways, and fifth in sacks. And so I think you look at a lot of their games, they have 1 or 2 explosive plays on offense. The production is mostly from those plays. And if they can force some turnovers and give themselves some short fields, they're able to take advantage. And if Chicago can prevent big plays and make Aaron Rodgers dink and dunk his way down the field and, not give them any frivolous turnovers, I like Chicago in this game. They should be and are the much more talented and better team.
Oh, it should be, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think one of the things too then with Chicago just on that is I think one thing that's helped out a lot also too with Ben Johnson as well, but the offensive line's been playing a lot better. They have been missing Braxton
Yeah.
Jones at that left tackle. Theo,
Yeah.
Benedict or Benet. I'm mispronouncing the heck out of the name, so I apologize. Might not matter because you're gonna be on the bench here soon once Braxton Jones gets back. No offense, but I think going to get Drew Dalman free agency, trading for Joe Tooney, I think it's been huge getting Jonah Jackson as well, Darnell Wright, as you talked about. So that's only helped out a bunch in general, and we're
Yeah.
seeing that as well too with the offensive numbers for Chicago, second in total rushing yards in the league, which is huge. Well, when last year, like they really struggled to run the ball, and because that offense was
Yeah.
nowhere near as effective. So I think where now they get into these shootout kind of games, and they have a couple of like very serious outliery games as well too. But they are statistically defensively one of the worst teams in the league. But that being said, though, they also have gotten into some wild shootout games where some of those numbers are inflated. But I think here though, I I think the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is that worse, especially too if they're
Yeah.
without Aaron Rodgers and also too without Jalen Warren as well. Um, I think that's going to be that's the matchup as well too because I think it's going to be fun. I think the Bears are going to get their licks in, score some points here. I think the Steelers are going to be able to stop them at times just because the Bears can still be inconsistent with Caleb Williams. But it really is going to be what Steelers offense is going to show up here for this game here because even too if we go and look at it as well, they only passed the ball for 232 yards. And then they did run the ball for 111, but this is all against Cincinnati Bengals defense, which is atrociously worse as well
Yeah.
too. It's I think for the Bears, you can make an argument that they've got in some shootouts, which is why teams have like their yardages numbers. This Bengals defense is just that atrociously awful. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to really monitor to see if Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to play in this game. If it's Mason Rudolph, it is going to be much more. Well, it's not going to be too big of a game plan difference. I think that the talent and the quarterback goes down a little bit, but Mason Rudolph, though, we've seen him lead teams to victories here as well. I and then with this Arthur Smith offense, I still hate it. I still really don't like it. Maybe it's PTSD with this Falcons team, but it it is going to be a much more smash mouthy version of football going up against this Bears defense, and that's where I'm curious on how they're going to handle that as well. Because the Steelers can control the clock, keep this offense off the field, get them out of rhythm. That's where I think it is going to be very interesting and maybe dangerous for Chicago. For Chicago, I think you kind of want to sling it around.
Yeah.
You want it to be a fast paced, higher scoring game because yes, Caleb Williams is developing and can he make the mistakes? Yes, but you're going to want to have as many opportunities because within this Ben Johnson offense, anything on any play it could turn into a touchdown. So
Yeah.
but real quick though, total sidebar. Shout out to Darnell Washington for making a highlight reel that will live on forever. You've joined the Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley status now. That his little passing catch where then he just threw 3 grown men like in the
Yeah.
air was awesome. Linebacker number 49 who was guarding him did his best and he just stiff armed the heck out of him. Shout out then to who was it? Cam Taylor Britt before he got hurt. I'm trying to remember, but that cornerback didn't he like he tried to tackle him, but he definitely made a business decision. And then shout out
Oh,
to
yeah.
DJ Turner for at least trying to poke the ball out, but then he got thrown like a rag doll. Like that
Yeah.
that was legendary. Like that was amazing to see. So with this game though, and another thing too, I've been talking for a second though, but this is just kind of my last thought. This is I think with both of these teams, and you hinted on it too with Pittsburgh a little bit, like how I I don't know if you use the term overrated or whatnot, but like they're
I
6-4
basically
record.
did.
I think their record, it does make them look better than they are.
Yeah.
I do think Chicago could also be viewed that way as well. On paper, there's a lot of good things. They are making progress, so we can praise them there. They have they have had a very um exciting route to their record here now. Blocked like a 30-yard chip shot against the Raiders. Commanders were going to win their game, but fumbled the ball and then gave them the opportunity, and then they kicked the field goal. Bengals, they nearly collapsed. They needed 2 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes to beat the Giants, and also to Jackson Dart had a concussion in that game. This one here too, they had to go down and drive and kick a field goal. So as I said, like at the beginning of this video, like on the road doesn't matter. Like just win now, doesn't matter how it looks. But I am curious how sustainable this play is for this lifestyle the Bears are living on can last them. Especially too if we go look at the rest of their season. Like they do have this game, which is a playoff contending team, but then they're at the Eagles, then they're at Green Bay. Green Bay hasn't been playing particularly great, but still though it's a division game as well too. They do host the Browns. This Browns defense is the best in the league. I know Shedeur Sanders might be starting for them, or maybe still in Gabriel if he's still healthy. But then Packers again, the Niners, and then the Lions. Like it is a tough road. I think we're really going to learn more about Chicago
Yeah.
during this game and after this game as well too. But to me, the Bears are also kind of maybe paper tiger status if we go look at the playoff teams. Could I be wrong? 100% because I think the talent is there, but I also think too they could easily be 3-7 at this point in the year.
Yeah. No, I think the Bears are a very interesting team uh, overall because, like you said, the talent is there, the record is there. Yet somehow when I watch it, I'm still like wanting more from this team, and it's just a really interesting feeling watching the Bears.
I picked the Steelers in Chicago. I think in the majority of my picks throughout the year, though, of these two teams, I am consistently like the least confident going in to the like into those
Yeah.
games with my picks. Even to this Minnesota game, being like I was not confident Minnesota winning either because Minnesota is also not playing well. But in Chicago, it's like they are living life dangerously on the edge
Yeah.
to being 3-7
Yeah.
as well. So it's interesting. I think when it comes to predictions on this one, especially I think just in general, I think it's going to be on the road. Pittsburgh hasn't really traveled super well on the road. If I'm remembering things correctly, but also too, they might be without
They're
Rodgers,
two and
might be
two.
without Warren. They're 2-2.
Yeah.
They're going to be without Rodgers more than likely. Warren will have to double check. Probably without Ramsey. I'm going to call that here now because if he threw a punch, he's going to be ejected.
Yeah.
Based off the precedent that they sent with Deron Payne. I believe it was Deron Payne and the Commanders, or was it Jonathan Allen? I can't remember. But uh,
It was Deron Payne. Allen's with the Vikings now.
yeah, I just think in general though, I think Chicago is going to pull this one out in another kind of grind it out kind of way. They're going to allow Pittsburgh to hang around. Pittsburgh also knows how to just hang around in games. But I think Chicago is going to be the one that pulls this one out. Once again, as I said, not confident in this pick either, but I just feel Chicago is going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chicago too. I actually am a little bit more confident in Chicago in this one than I have been in the past. I just think Chicago is the better team. This defense is really struggling, and Ben Johnson is a fantastic offensive mind. I think he's really going to be able to take advantage of the shortfalls of this Steelers defense. So I'm pretty confident in Chicago on this one.
Okay.
So
All right. That makes 1.5 of
I
us.
say that Chicago is definitely losing now. That's
Yeah.
so. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Pittsburgh Steelers? Will it be the Chicago Bears? None of that. We'll see you guys next time.